Hello, it's day 105, I think. I didn't took note of this, but today we are going to keep watching that Spock video, Spock or Sock. I don't remember the name of the channel, but okay, ignore all of that. This one, Sock. Okay.
Versus Melee, and specifically...
Wait. Okay, I'm going to mute myself. I'll watch like 15 minutes, maybe until here, or 10 minutes. I'm not sure what I'm looking for, but it's just that I want to gain knowledge. So yeah, let's watch it, and then we'll play. We will play. Come on, wait, here.
Mage versus Melee is quite different from the regular like Mage versus Mage or Range versus Range that we might play. The first Our next example is Orianna versus Akali, and Range versus Melee, and specifically Mage versus Melee, is quite different from the regular like Mage versus Mage or Range versus Range that we might play. The first thing that's important to know and how this might be different in this season is a couple things. So at the tail end of last season, they did nerf D-Shield second wind sustain. It's still quite powerful, but basically what it was before is you just wouldn't even bother taking early game runes like Scorch or Comet or Area, whatever, into these sort of champions because there was no way to get through the amount of sustain without running out of mana. That is not the case anymore. You can actually take strong laning runes into these champs, and I actually encourage you to. And something you might have even seen, like if you keep up with LCK and stuff, is sometimes people even take combat sums in this matchup. So I should have mentioned this in the previous one, but in Range vs Range, TP is still mostly the best, but when you play against these sort of champs, you can opt for something like an Ignite to kill them when they're low. You can opt for things like Exhaust or even Barrier.
Okay, I'm going to try to take notes. Even though I won't probably use them all, like all the tips and all of that now. I want to take notes of things that I have been learning. I think this is day 104. Okay, he said that things I have. He said that how do I type this? That TP is better when you are against a mage, right? I don't know why, but he said that, so there's gotta be a reason. So yeah, but I'm not going to blindly use it. And maybe with Zoe it's better to have Ignite because of my W. So it's not that I'm going to apply this blindly, you know. I'm not going to start taking TP whenever my matchup is a mage. But I mean, we have it here, like we know this exists. Okay.
Here, because if you're the one with...
Wait, am I muted? Okay, no.
Prior to the wave, which is up. So I should have mentioned this in the previous one, but in Range vs Range, TP is still mostly the best, but when you play against these sort of champs, you can opt for something like an Ignite to kill them when they're low. You can opt for things like Exhaust or even Barrier, because if you're the one with Prior of the Wave, which you should have most of the time, it's much easier for you to choose when you're recalling, and as a result, it's not as much of an issue not having TP. So this matchup in particular, we want to start off by getting control of the wave. Pretty much like normal. If you can push, you should, but of course, we do want to push pretty much as slow as we can, right? Like we want to get as many opportunities to harass on the way in. And something you'll see a lot of the time in these matchups is placing 1 or 2 autos on the backline creep, because what that means is like you can choose to kill this whenever you want, but it's going to keep the wave in the middle here. Like if you kill the melees, the wave is going to move up, right, which is going to, you know, make it push. But if you kill one of these range creeps, obviously you're still going to get like that 2-wave crash, but it's going to stay here for longer. Now it's very, very important when you are playing against these champions to make sure you play around your keystones. So like against a champion with electrocute, if they proc electrocute, you almost always will just lose the trade. But if you can keep them at range, if you can take short trades, they should generally be good for you. And so you can see just like walking away, taking the quick Q poke, pushing the wave extremely slowly. And what this is going to do is that this wave is going to protect you. Basically, your opponent cannot trade with you because the wave is so big. And if they do, they're just going to end up taking tons and tons of damage. So crash this wave all the way in. Now here is where you have a big decision to make. So most melees tend to spike really hard at level 3. That's the point where they're going to start trading on you very heavily. They're going to start doing a lot of damage. If you can get enough damage dealt to your opponent on the second wave or the first wave to make it so that when they hit level 3, they're not actually really going to be healthy enough to trade on you, then you can keep pushing. So in this case, see how Akali has taken tons and, you know, like a huge amount of damage? What that's going to mean is that Akali is not going to be strong enough at level 3 to threaten Ori. So in this case, you can continue to push because you're actually not scared of being chased down the lane. However, if you haven't got enough damage dealt, like let's say, for example, that Akali had given tons of CS, like maybe she only has 4 CS, but she's very healthy, you probably want to let this wave come to you, because what you don't want is the really strong level 3 Akali to be able to chase you down the lane. In this case, though, you know, again, have this big lead, so we can just continue to slow push. And that's going to mean that we can continue to get harassment and stuff out of the turret. Now, you might be wondering, how on earth do you live the gank here? So that, we have to go back a little bit just to explain this real quick. So there are 2 ways, basically, to ward at level 1 nowadays. One is you can look for some sort of ward in the enemy jungle. So, like, typically warding raptors at level 1 can be good. So what you can do is, like, out of base, you can immediately, like, path here, and then you can either try ward raptors, or what's more common is you path to this bush, then you hug along this wall, and then you ward raptors. That can be pretty useful because it tells you, you know, where the enemy is starting. If they do raptors early, you know, they start at top. If they didn't, you know, they start at bottom. Now, if you're the one who's like winning the lane, what you can do is you can actually opt to defend your raptors. So if you are the one getting prior, right, like it's much easier for you to get vision and you to get control. So something you'll often see in range versus melee is actually defending your own side, right? Like see here how Ori just runs straight here. What this does is like, yes, it's going to mean that it's a little harder for Ori to get a ward in the enemy jungle because she pathed out to bot side, but it also guarantees that Akali can't get one. And since Akali can't push, she's just never going to get an opportunity to drop a ward. So it's a different level 1 from the range versus range where you're playing in the middle and really trying to get control. In this case, you're just really heavily focused on denying the enemy ward. So as I was saying, you can look to ward level 1. If you're not warding level 1, you can ward after the second wave as another common timing. So we talked about this in the previous example. If you get a lot of damage on the turret, you can then go and drop a ward after, and you'll be in a really, really good spot, because that way you've used your cooldowns, you got your harass off, and then you're nice and set up in order to keep playing aggressive. Now, in this case, what do you do if you actually don't know where the enemy jungler started? So you see, like, the Ori used bush, or used ward in this bush, which means, you know, like, you didn't actually confirm where the enemy jungler started. I wouldn't recommend doing this, to be honest, because you're kind of rolling the dice a little bit. But let's pause and kind of talk about that, I guess, is that in this spot, you probably know that the enemy jungler started topside. It's not guaranteed, but it is more likely, given the side lane matchups, that Jace is pathing bot. That's definitely more of a higher low thing, and like I said, I wouldn't recommend doing this. But I guess, yeah, like if you, in theory, you can kind of figure out where he's going, and it's more common to path down at the moment anyway, just in general. But yeah, I would like have some sort of ward after you get this harassment on the turret, and that's going to make you super, super safe. So we're going to keep pushing, and that's how we're not scared of the enemy jungler. Also, we have Lee Sin kind of nearby, so worst case, we can run to him. And of course, we have Phase Rush, which is going to allow us to, you know, run away. Important note here, 2 points Q level 3. Not always will you do this on Ori, but typically as level 3 Ori, E is not a particularly useful ability. So you're going to go 2 points W against range, or you're going to go 2 points Q against melee, and then you're just going to spam that out. Be careful how often you use the 1 point W. So you can see, I think he's used 2 1 point Ws. Definitely don't use too many, because you can end up running with it. It is quite nice, obviously, like it adds a little bit of extra damage, but it's not particularly mana efficient, right? Like this is doing 105 damage for 35 mana. This is doing 92 damage for 60 mana. So it's overall much less efficient. and you definitely don't want to cast it too much. So continues to shove in. You can see has a very sizable CS lead, so we're very on our way in order to get the our first base advantage, which is what we're looking for. Now, did get ganked by the jungle here. Not really any gank setup, and that is something you should think about as well, is like there's no CC between these champs. If you're playing against a more threatening combo, like let's say something like LeBlanc Rek'Sai, you're going to need to either play a bit safer or you're going to need to drop a ward or something, but in this case, there just really isn't any threat, right? Like you can see even with 0 wards, Ori was able to survive the gank just fine. So, we can kind of skim through this. It's pretty much just the same thing. Like, eventually, the Akali is forced to base, I believe. You do have to be a little careful. Like, again, when they're on this low HP, they're getting tons of regen, so be very careful. I think he has probably used a bit too many Ws, and that is meaning, like, he's missing a little bit of Q mana. But yeah, be just a bit careful because the sustain is quite high. Now, Ori actually ended up basing first. I think this is not ideal, but was probably forced to. If you can stay longer to make sure you shove one extra wave, that's better. But I think what happened is he used too many Ws, and then he ran slightly and obviously, yeah, if you can't quite kill her, she just keeps sustaining. But this is good. You know, like, we base with 11 CS advantage, which is really, really solid. Now, for your first base, there's a lot of things you can buy. You can basically buy, you know, whatever you want here. Tier 2 boots is actually not a bad idea, though. So, like, you know, it's common, and people know this, that like tier 2 boots are really, really good into mages, right, for the skill shots, but it's actually pretty good against melees as well, because one of the big things or big advantages that melees have is typically they have a movement speed advantage over you. But in this case, Ori actually has more movement speed, even without Phase Rush, which makes it very, very easy to just run away and kite from the Akali engage. And also, if you are scared of getting ganked, in this case, probably not, particularly if you like lost flash, you didn't have any vision or anything, the tier 2 boots can make that a lot more playable. So it's definitely something you can think about as well. So yeah, I think this trade here was a little suspicious, but I think probably what happened is Ori was really just trying to fiend getting level 6 before Akali, and was then just gonna, you know, play for the kill, play for the chase down. So a little bit greedy. Normally what you should do here is, if melee champs tend to be very, very powerful when their cooldowns are up, but their cooldowns are very, very long. So if you can wait out this W, right, like if you can just walk away, if you can chill a bit, once the W is down, you can look to really heavy trade. Because as you can see, there isn't much Ori can do in order to win that trade there. So I think that was like kind of a throw, but was able to get level 6 first, was able to get that ult. And then yeah, if you can manage to burn Akali's ult without dying yourself, you're going to be in a really, really good spot. Another thing I'll quickly mention before we go to the next VOD is that in these matchups, you can opt to play, instead of playing aggressive like Sword, you can look to play Catalyst instead. So not every mage can do this, but there's a lot of mages that can go something like Roa Riftmaker, and that can make it very, very difficult, especially for Ignite assassins to kill you. And then you can just look to outscale. But you definitely don't have to do that every time now, because, you know, again, assassins, they don't have as much sustain as they did before. So by playing aggressively, you can look to kill them. So yeah, from here, I don't think we need to look at too much more. The main takeaways, again, that I want you to get from this game is that, once again, level 1 is very, very key. So typically try and defend your, you know, vision here, and then you can either place a ward later after the second wave, or you can place it here, you know, if you get pushed really, really early. Try and push those first 2 waves as slow as possible, but make sure the second wave does crash, because if the second wave doesn't crash and it ends up frozen outside the turret, it can be very bad. And then your main, I guess, like decision making thing to think about is, when the wave crashes, continue pushing if you have some sort of lead. If you don't have a big enough health lead to kind of disincentivize Akali from trading on you, or the melee or whatever, at that point, let the wave come back to you. And if you're ever scared, try and just like bring the wave on your side, because most of these champs can't roam pre-6, so you don't have to worry about like freezing it all pre-6. So we'll go to another example, but hopefully that should generalize the range versus melee laning for you. So we covered the...
Okay, wait. This is like, I don't think I need to know this on my rank, and I think it's a good decision to start learning and start practicing wave management. And he said, and I find interesting that whenever I'm facing a melee champion in lane, I should try to slow push at least in early levels 1, level 1, level 2, level 3. So my minions can defend me if my opponent engages. I find that useful. However, I'm probably just going to sow the wave every time because I want to help my bot lane, because I think like I'm still testing this theory, but I have the feeling that in this rank, at least, like in low ranks, I need my bot lane to be fed, so I have to be roaming a lot and trying to help my bot lane get kills. So I don't think I have like time, or I should be freezing waves or pushing slowly. I think I have to push as fast as possible so I can roam as many times as possible. But as I said, it's good to have this knowledge. Now I know this. So maybe if I'm in trouble, maybe against a Fizz or a Diana, it's a good thing to do this, you know, because I won't be always able to push fast, you know. Maybe I made a mistake and maybe now I don't have the lane priority and I can't do whatever I want, you know. I can't, maybe I'm unable to slow push if I want, or no, sorry, maybe I'm not able to fast push if I want to roam, because maybe I have to play safe. Maybe I'm low HP, maybe I cannot push fast push, no. So now I know that slow pushing against a melee champion is not that bad actually. Okay, I think that's good. Like for now, that's good. For today, I mean, yeah. Keep watching this video. $15 approximately, right? Okay, so let's play. I cannot hear the game as always. Wait, I have to do this to hear the game. Alright. Did I save? Ah. Oh. He said that mages play this. I think it was this rune, right? Because it was about movement speed, so I guess it's this one. Yeah, so mages usually play with this so they can dodge skill abilities easier, because obviously you're quicker, right? Yeah. But well, okay, so this is like, how is it called in English? Cooldown. I don't know how is it called in English. But cooldown reduction, I guess you understand what I'm talking about. Like this thing. it's good for me as well, right? So is this better or is this better? I don't know. Hmm. I mean, I don't want to say that people in this rank miss a lot of abilities, but I guess they miss more here in bronze than they do in, I don't know, masters. So I don't think I need this actually, but mm, the more, like in general terms, the more speed, the more movement speed I have, the better. Like in every situation, it's better to just have more mobility. But I don't know how useful is this rune. Maybe if I don't have this, I cannot play aggressive, and I think I have to play aggressive. Okay, who am I against? Oh, never mind. I think I was against an Akali, but whatever. Am I muted? No. Okay. Well, I wonder if 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 I pick a different champion, will their runes be the same? And like the ones I get recommended? No, I cannot see them now, or what? Oh yeah, I can. Okay, they changed. But the rights, for example, also have this rune. Let's see Veigar. He has this one as well. I would like to see Oriana's rune, but I don't have Oriana. No. Well, he has different runes, so whatever. Okay, we're against Diana. So I guess oh wait, no, we're, well, I don't know who's mid, to be honest, because both champions can be jungle. They only have Nasus as tank, so I don't think I need these runes. So I will go with these ones. Okay, I'm going to try this rune. Okay, maybe it's not a good thing, but I mean, I'm not going to see the difference. Like, oh my god, we won because of that rune. No, like the difference is going to be so small that I will not notice. Maybe I will notice the difference in runes whenever I am challenger. You know, because you will win a match in challenger maybe because you had a slightly better rune, but here it doesn't really matter. But I don't know, let's just see what happens. Like, if I lose or I play bad, it's not going to be because of the rune, you know, it's going to be because I played good, I played bad. But I don't know, let's just experiment, you know. Okay, I'm going to mute myself now. And let's see how the game goes. Okay, got a little distracted there, but do I have time to recall? I don't think so, right? Okay, I'm going to mute myself, that's it. Okay, I was playing a little bit risky there, but luckily, like everything came out in my favor. think I'm going to farm this because Miss Fortune is recalling, so there's a lot of farm here to take. Hopefully she goes... Wait. Okay, I'm going to shut up because I cannot do two things at once. I should have recalled, but now it's too late. I mean, now I definitely have to recall, like... I don't know if I should have bought these potions, but I don't know, I had a lot of gold, so I don't know. Okay, hopefully they don't get motivated, they don't get overexcited, like they don't overextend, you know. But we are doing good so far. Well, I don't know. Should I go there? No. Why? Doesn't my ult like so you know, I don't know the word in English, but when I use my ult I can see in the book inside the bushes, right? Why couldn't I see Zed? Anyways, I knew he was going to do that. You see? I don't know, he's so aggressive, so I was expecting he was going to like bait me, or you know, bait. I kinda baited him in the end. Where's Corky? Why is she pushing me? I cannot kill her, but I can be annoying at least. Okay, Diana is here. Where do I go now? Okay, let's see if there's plants here to heal myself. No. Oh, set spot lane. Okay, I'm going to mute myself again. I'm talking too much. Okay, so I knew that Diana was there, but I thought I could kill Leona while I was going away. But first I got stunned by Leona's ultimate, and then second I got nervous, so I missed my cue. I started smashing my keyboard buttons, so yeah, everything started to be a mess. I have to be like a robot that doesn't get nervous at like any time, you know? Okay, mute myself again.
Hay picardía en las estrellas. También nubes gaseosas.
Tu equipo ha destruido una torreta. Ha destruido una torreta.
Me gusta todo lo que veo. Como las... Sup, sup, surup, dubirupap, bup, bup.
I'm confused. Why are we losing all of a sudden?
Es demasiado brillante y la noche demasiado oscura. No sé cómo
Oh wait, what? What? Why did they give up? They were kinda winning, like what? People just randomly give up in this game or what? They had to go to have lunch or what? They have an AFK? Who? Wait, oh no, never mind. Wait, yeah, there's missing one champion here. They didn't have top laner or what? Oh yeah. But anyways, like this guy, like Corki was getting fed. And Zed, he died 6 times, but he was also killing my bot lane a lot. My set, for some reason, was inting in mid lane, or he either was trying to do something really complex when he came mid lane. Maybe he was trying to help me, but I don't know. I had a bad feeling about this game. I played good, I think, but if I played good, it's because I don't know. I mean, the enemy wasn't so bad, I guess, but I don't know. I don't understand why am I winning now, and then I will be losing 4 games in a row for some reason. Wait, oh, okay, never mind. You see, Corki was doing a lot of damage. Nice farming, I guess. Oh, my Embessa was doing pretty good. Wait, my support did 10,000 damage? Even though he died 8 times? Where is this champion, dude? You see, I've always wondered why aren't support champions like any champion, like not only support champions like Leona, you know? Why can't a support be Diana or I don't know, any, like it's about doing damage, right? Like it doesn't matter if you don't have a hook or something. No? Or have people tried that before and it didn't work, or what? Like why a support can't be another AD carry? Because you need one AD carry to be strong, or what? I guess is that's the reason. Anyways, let's see. Well, there's nothing much. There's nothing else to see here, I think. Anyways, I'm confused. So yeah, that's it for today, I guess. I don't like these wins because it's like I'm going to win 4 in a row now and then I'm going to lose 4 in a row, and I would want to understand why was I winning before and why will I be losing later. Like I want to understand why things happen, you know. I don't want to randomly win and randomly lose, but I don't know, man. I will try to keep it simple, and let's say I played good and that's why I won. Anyways, that's it for today again, and see you next time, I guess. Bye.